we have to discuss who is the NFL's MVP. It's time for it, Big Smitty. It's time to give some real insight as to who is winning it, who will win it, and why they deserve to win it. Jared Goff is the quarterback on the best team in the NFL. Has one of the highest passing percentages in the NFL and touchdowns to interception ratios in the NFL. Lamar Jackson has thrown 29 touchdowns versus only 3 interceptions and is on a team that is middle of the pack in the AFC. His best season, in my opinion. Josh Allen has 20 touchdowns versus 5 interceptions and has carried his team to be in the mix for the 1 seed in the AFC and already beat the Chiefs. And Saquon Barkley has made the Eagles a real Super Bowl contender with Jalen Hurts playing about as average as a highly paid QB can play. Those are your options, Smitty. But it's really unfortunate, before we dive into this discussion, that Joe Burrow's Bengals are this bad and that Sam Darnold will not get any consideration for what he's done this year in Minnesota. And also shout out to Baker Mayfield and the season he's having in Tampa Bay. But they also will not carry any weight in this MVP discussion. So having said all that, Smitty, my NFL MVP would either go to Josh Allen or Saquon Barkley. But after seeing CMC's season last year, which is very, very similar to this season by Saquon Barkley, but even CMC had more receptions and touchdowns last year. And then Lamar winning it over him with a very, very average season in comparison to what this season looks like for Lamar. There is no way Saquon gets it over one of these QBs. I wish the league would change the narrative for the award, Smitty, and award it to the best player who has the most impact on his team, and they won't do it. This isn't the Heisman, Smitty. This is the MVP, which means most valuable player to his team, to this league, and what he does week in and week out. Saquon Barkley, Smitty, is clearly the most impactful player for his team, and without him, the Eagles have about 5 losses right now. Without Josh Allen, Smitty, his team may not have 1 win. And without Goff, the Lions are pretty good, but not 10 wins good. And without Lamar Jackson, the league would be deprived of a special generational talent who we haven't seen since Michael Vick. But he continues to prove me right in big game situations when they load the box to stop the run. He has to show me he can make the pass when needed. Having said all that, Big Smitty, who is your MVP?
Beautiful intro. I'll have to give that to you right now. That was smooth. I like the explanation and breakdown. Right now, today, Thursday, December 5th at 6:12 a.m. Pacific time, it's Saquon Barkley right now because of the stats that he has, the impact he has on the Eagles, how the Eagles are playing, how Jalen Hurts has been playing, and also the fact that the Eagles just faced off against the Ravens and the Eagles won that game pretty comfortably in the second half, in large part to Saquon's second half performance and dominance on the run game. Because the 2 guys I had kind of at the top going into that game was Lamar, was Saquon, and Saquon outperformed Lamar. Obviously different positions, but in terms of played better at his role than Lamar did at his role, and the Eagles are a better team than the Ravens record-wise. So right now, today, I have to go Saquon number 1 because of everything that you said and for the impact he's having on one of the best teams in the league. And then right now, number 2, it's close for me, man, because the Bills are balling and competing for a 1 seed. The Ravens are they're a little above middle of the pack. They're kind of, slightly above the middle of the pack. But Lamar's stats are so damn good. Like 29 pass touchdowns. I think he got 3 rushing, 3,200 passing yards. He's leading a lot of the categories as a passer. You look at the 3 picks that he's thrown. I mean, you could maybe put 1 on him. The other 2 was like blatantly not his fault at all. So he's having literally probably his best season ever. But the Ravens are, as a team, isn't having their best season ever. Now, are they still good? Yeah, I think they're what 8-5 or 8-6, if I'm not mistaken. They're still like a good team, a team that you respect. But when you compare them to what the Bills are doing, compete for number 1 seed, what the Eagles are doing, compete for the 1 seed, and then the Lions, to me, look like the best team in the NFL. I just don't think Jared Goff's performance overall is in the same conversation as the other 3 candidates. So that's why I don't have Jared Goff would be 4th on my list, although he is on the best team, because these other 3 players, to me, performances are better and their teams are still good. They're not as good as the Lions, but they're good enough to where it's, because for me, it's a balance. It's like, is your team winning? Are you a playoff team? How much impact do you have? What are your numbers? How great are you this season? It's kind of like a mixture. It's like a gumbo mixture for MVP. I put it all together and then I see what comes out. And to me, right now, December 5th at 6:14 a.m. Pacific time, it's Saquon. I'm gonna give Josh Allen right there slight edge over Lamar, but it's like neck and neck. It's like 2A and 2B. And then I got Jared Goff at the 4th spot.
I'd have Goff. I'd have Goff. I'd have Lamar at 4th, only because of this reason. People don't look at it at a macro level. Jared Goff per game. Let's go game by game by game. Jared Goff has outplayed Lamar Jackson, consistently speaking, and his team is winning because of it. If you look at Lamar Jackson's had about 3 spectacular, unbelievable games, which has given him almost 15 touchdowns in just those 3 games. Take those 3 games out, and you see Lamar has failed or played pretty bad or poorly in a multitude of games. Last Sunday, he had a very bad game. 2 weeks prior to that, he had a very bad game.
Very
Lamar
bad.
Had many more up and downs this year, and that's why I would have him at 4th. I think he's a generational, unbelievable talent.
I think very bad is strong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm talking about these 4 players, though. So versus these 4 players, or these 3 other players, I would have Lamar at 4th.
Jared Goff has a 5 interception game too.
Yeah, I know. But 3 of them, one of them was a Hail Mary. 2 of them was dropped. I mean, I watched the games too. I see what the difference is and just throwing 5 picks. And he won the game, Smitty. To me, I would argue that that's even more worthy of an MVP.
No, that's because how good his team is.
Yeah, I'm just saying. For me to come back and win that game is kind of MVP worthy to me. Throwing 5 picks and winning the game is like, that's what you want out of your MVP. I'm not a Jared Goff guy. I'm not at all. I tell you that he, to me, chokes in the big games when the lights are brightest. I would not put any stock in Jared Goff winning me a Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you straight out. You know me, I'm going to keep it real. Jared Goff I'm glad the Rams got rid of him. Still to this day. So I have I
actually like Jared Goff.
I like him. Don't get me wrong, but he's a regular season quarterback, like a great one. But in the playoffs, man, I don't know. I'm not big on him. But I would still have him. I would have him above Lamar right now, even though Lamar's stats are being unbelievable. But like I said, if you look at it, you throw some shit at the wall. He's had some great, unbelievable MVP games, and then he's had some bad games. And Jared Goff's been like this the whole year. So to me, him and Josh Allen would be ahead of him to me, but I would have Saquon as the leader because of what he is to his team. Without him, Smitty, the Eagles aren't even in.
We agree at the top. Saquon is there. I don't even think there's an argument right now today in this current moment. He's on pace to beat Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record. I think he's gonna actually do it the way he's playing. I don't see why he won't.
One more game though. But
of course. But because of that, I think he might actually do it. But to me, my last point, Josh Allen, Lamar, they're kind of similar for me because they have to do so much for their team. But in order to make their team be great. Jared Goff, really good quarterback, but like the Lions, they're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, but you take him off and put the backup in, they're not 10-win team.
No, of course. You know me. I'm the guy. There's definitely a drop from the starter and the backup for sure. But if you remove all these guys, which team will get affected the least, in my opinion? I probably put the Lions at the top, honestly, if I'm being real. Saying if Lamar got, knock on wood, something happened to Lamar. I don't want to even put the energy out there. Jared Goff, Saquon, all these guys, something happened to them and they couldn't play. Which team would get affected the most? I think it'll be the Lions. Again, it's not Jared Goff's fault. You can't control the fact that you have a good team, I'm just saying that the impact that Josh Allen and Lamar in their daily duties of what they have to do to make that team go is different. Listen, the Ravens are a few kicks away from being what, like 9-3 right now, or 10, like right there in the mix. Like, and again, I'm not trying to put the whole game on Justin Tucker, but again, I watch the Ravens every single Sunday. Lamar's driving them down the field, get them in scoring position. They have some people think the greatest kicker of all time, who historically would make them. He's missing them now. So to me, Lamar to do a better job.
If I flip the coin, though,
getting to the end zone.
If I flipped the coin on you, though, and said the Ravens are also 3 plays away from being 3-7, what are you going to say?
I would ask you how. I would ask you to explain that.
I mean, I've watched the Ravens too this year.
Yeah, I would ask you to
they've won some games. The Bengals twice. Look at the games that they've won that you can look at and be like, oh, shit, they should have lost those games. The Raider game they should have won, but they lost. We argue that. They've also won some games as the Raiders did against them. And Tucker has lost them some games, you can argue, by not making a couple kicks.
Like 3 games, like normal kicks that he always makes, like regular kicks.
Yeah, but they also lost some games. They also won some games they could have easily lost. It goes both ways. This is what the NFL is. That's why it's a man's league, in my opinion. Hopefully it continues to stay a man's league. But I don't know. I think this is the B Channel's name. We already put it in the chat. So go check out and follow the Coach JB's second channel, our backup channel. Go check it out. We'll be having some content on there, some personal content as well. Follow it today. We just dropped the link right there in the chat. So go subscribe right now. Let's get everybody over there. So if something ever happens again, knock on wood, we have a show without any hesitation. So follow that channel right now, the backup channel at the Real Coach JB show.